Tristan A. Smith.
Keep clapping for your host, Dan, and also Carl. Good dudes. I've enjoyed what I've seen so far and what I've heard. Yeah, you're a brilliant human being. Or God, I'm so sorry. I definitely, it's real rude of me. Yeah. I never got the movie Willy Wonka. Never understood the movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I never got it after the first 5 minutes. The first 5 minutes, it's a story about a guy who decides to retire from a company he created. You know, I sort of get that part. Like it's number one chocolate factory on earth. He's built it up his entire life. And one day, he decides, I'm gonna retire. That part makes sense to me. Everything after that, though, is kind of weird. Because in the search for a replacement CEO, he says to himself, I'm gonna find a replacement CEO for my chocolate factory using a lottery system. And I'm gonna make it a lottery only accessible to children. How do you think the vice president of the chocolate factory felt upon hearing this news? Because he knows he's gotta be some Oompa Loompa named Stuart, you know, spent like 26 years with the company, worked his way up from the mailroom all the way to the VP office. And I'm sure Stuart lost a lot along the way. He was working 80-hour weeks. He had a wife, he had a son. And one day, they confronted him. They said, hey, Stuart, we're tired of this. We don't want a part-time husband, part-time father. We need you around this house, making life better. And he looked his wife in the eye. He said, bitch, you don't understand. I'm trying to break this glass ceiling for Oompa Loompas everywhere. I'm making the world a better place. You gotta bear with me. And they left him. I guarantee they left him. But in his mind, he knew he was doing it for the right reasons, and he was okay with it, and he kept working, he kept moving up the corporate ladder. And he gets to the vice president's office. And one day, he hears rumors that Willy Wonka's leaving the company. And he gets a phone call from Willy's secretary saying, Mr. Wonka would like to see you in his office now. And he gets butterflies in his stomach, because he knows today is the day it's gonna finally happen. Today's the day he finally becomes president of the Willy Wonka chocolate factory. And he walks to Willy's office. Willy sits him down and says, I'm sure you've heard the rumors. I want to tell you exactly, they're exactly correct. I'm leaving, I'm out of here. And I found a replacement. And it's not you, it's a really cool 10-year-old I met today. Stuart killed himself. Stuart for sure took his own life. Also, like, I don't really know that Charlie was the best 10-year-old in town. He was just the best 10-year-old out of 6 other 10-year-olds. It wasn't that hard of a search. Honestly, I don't really know that he was the best. He was just the poorest. He was the poorest 10-year-old out of 6 other 10-year-olds. I don't really think that's a great criteria for a CEO of a company. And also, I don't think things ended up good for Charlie by the end of it. Like at the end of the movie, like he's on a high note for him, sure. But I think if you fast forward that story, things didn't work out well for him. I guarantee you, Charlie died of a cocaine overdose at the age of 25. You don't give poor kids that much money and expect it to be okay. Charlie died the same way Justin Bieber's gonna go. Sorry, that's a spoiler. Didn't know if you didn't know that. Don't be surprised in 2018, that's all I'm saying. Random weird thing. I don't really admit this often, but I've never seen that movie. Never watched it. Never seen the film. Never seen it. I put this bit using context clues. Like that's the only way. I've never seen the movie. I've dedicated a third of my act to a movie I've never bothered to watch. I love that. I'm the headliner for the show, and nothing gives me more faith as a headliner than saying that they've duct taped the sign to the curtain to give me a real boost as a performer. I love that they called it apocalypse comedy, and then for most of the pre-show music, it was Tom Waits and smooth jazz. Very interesting musical choice for apocalypse comedy. Music that fills you with neither dread or laughter. It's all right. Let's go with it. Let's switch gears for a second. Why did I roast the show? That's rude. They were nice enough to give me a real opportunity. I maybe headline one show a month. Why would I do this? It's just rude. They took a leap of faith with me. And also, this is the last day of the month. If I didn't headline now, the month would have gone without me headlining. So thank you, Dan, I guess. All right, let's switch gears for a second. I used to be a child prodigy. I was a child prodigy. I was 16 years old when I started college, and I was 12 years old when I started high school. And all that sentence means is that I was book smart. It just means I was book smart. Doesn't mean I was emotionally mature enough for the circumstances. And I went to an all-boys Catholic high school on the south side of Chicago. The thing about all-boys Catholic high schools on the south side of Chicago is that they are factories. They're factories that produce little boys that lie about having sex. That's all they do. But I was 12 years old. I didn't realize that all my friends were lying. I thought they were legit, I thought all my 14-year-old friends were just banging all the time. I really had faith in them. Why would they lie to me? And one day, here's the thing. At 12 years old, I didn't know anything about having sex. The only thing I knew about having sex is that you couldn't have had sex recently if you wanted to be cool. You had to have had sex a long time ago. You had to have been a pro at sex. And one day, when I was 12 years old, one of my friends walked up to me, said, "Hey Tristan, you having sex yet?" I go, "Yeah, man, I screw." I thought that'd be a cool answer. He goes, "All right, buddy, that's cool. I'm happy for you. When'd you start having sex? When'd you lose your virginity?" Told him 3rd grade. Honestly, I thought that was a good answer. I really had faith in that. I stepped out on that limb. And for whatever reason, he didn't poke holes in that story. He didn't scrutinize it. I think he thought I got molested, but he didn't scrutinize it that hard. And in my mind, that was a success. I was like, yes, anytime anybody asks me in the future when I had sex, I can just say 3rd grade, I'm good, I'm golden for the future. Until a few weeks later. A different friend from a different friend group asked me that exact same question. He goes, "Hey Tristan, you having sex?" I said, "I fuck literally all the time." Because I was ready for it. I was ready for it by this point. And he goes, "All right, let's calm down." He goes, "All right, that's cool, man. When'd you start having sex? When'd you lose your virginity?" I told him 3rd grade. He said, "What?" So then I realized 3rd grade is a terrible answer to give someone for losing your virginity for the first time. And all of a sudden, I had to cover for my tracks. I had to make up an excuse. And I told him, "You misunderstood me. I never said 3rd grade. You misheard me." He goes, "Okay, when did you really start having sex? When did you really lose your virginity?" I told him 1st grade. I got more flustered. And I never spoke to him again after that day. I faded out of his life. We're not even friends on Facebook. I don't even go to high school reunions. Honestly, I hope he's dead. I don't want to deal with the embarrassment of seeing the man I said I had 1st grade sex to. What are you doing? And here's the thing. Here's where, later on, I realized why I got into trouble. I got into trouble because I didn't know the cool age to have sex. Later on, I found out the cool age to have sex is 16 years old. But if 16 is the cool age to have sex, why is it 9 a little bit cooler? On some level. I'm never going to get an audience to be behind 9-year-olds having sex. Can you just imagine it? 3rd graders rolling around in the grass? None of you are excited? All right. That's not a real thing. I'm not randomly a child molester. Yeah. Apocalypse Comedy headlined by child molester Tristan A. Smith. I'm really not doing this for the jokes. This is just my way of announcing it without knocking on your doors. No, that's not enough. All right. I've just dug a hole. All right. Let's switch gears yet again. Anybody familiar with Rachel Dolezal? Anybody know who that is? Yeah. For anybody who doesn't, she was the white lady that pretended to be black in order to become the head of the NAACP in Spokane, Washington. Yeah, it was a big story at the time, and even though it sort of faded into obscurity, it was important for one major reason. It was the first time that anybody ever claimed to be transracial. They could be born one race, but feel like you're another. And whenever something racial happens in the news, there's all these Facebook arguments about it, all these debates. And in these debates, somebody always says, "Well, black people just pull the race card. That's all you guys do." And I find that insulting. I don't think I pull a race card until I started having to pull the race card. And in order for me to tell you that story, I've got to tell you another one first so that you will be on my side. So 10 years ago, my mom passed away. Mom passed away, I don't have any siblings, and I've never met my father. So I went from me and her to just me. And there's no good way to take that news. There's no right way to handle that information. And for me, I coped with it by eating. I coped with my mom's death by eating. I ate whatever I could find in front of me. And I didn't realize that I'd gained weight. I had no idea that I'd gained weight. I didn't find out until people started yelling that I was fat from moving cars. Like that was the only way that I found out. It was a lot of the same insults over and over. You know, a lot of people would say, hey, 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 Fat Albert. Yeah, and like, a lot of people would also like compare me to like whatever heavier black celebrity they saw on a movie or TV show. They're like, hey, you look like that guy I saw once. And like, it always hurt, it was always insulting. But for whatever reason, it just so happened that the vast majority of the people that did this to me were white. Now, I don't think that like white people hate black people or anything, but I know white people hate me. Like that's just for sure true. There's no unassailable logic. But I used to work as a bouncer at a bar in Wrigleyville, and a lot of you guys might be able to see where the story's going. I started calling random white people racist in order not to get called fat anymore. That's how you win the race card game. Like if somebody plays the queen of I find you fat, I can do the king of you're racist, and then like that's how you win. Like racism trumps fat, we get that, right? It just does. And I gotta be honest, I was real good at the race card game. It was real fun. I was a master at it. It was so fun that I started using it for minor inconveniences. And that's where I got into trouble. Like I said before, I was a bouncer in Wrigleyville. And one of the hardest things to do when you're a bouncer is to get people out of a bar when it's time to close. Like I would spend half an hour saying, hey guys, time to go, we're clearing out, everybody up. And nobody ever got out of their chairs. But if you pretend that you've been called the N-word by an unseen assailant, people will run out of the room. And it worked like gangbusters. I was so happy with myself. Until one day it didn't. One day, I made it being called the N-word, and nobody moved. And I remember thinking to myself, if racism trumps fat, what trumps racism? So I pretended I had cancer. Now, here's the thing. I didn't say I have cancer, but I implied it. I definitely implied it. And here's exactly what happened. Somebody said something cancer, and I said, yeah, I'm familiar with that. But I said it in a really smug way that made it seem like I had cancer. And all of a sudden, I saw their eyes change, they grew with concern for me. And in my head, I was like, okay, I gotta correct these people, I gotta tell them I'm okay, nothing's wrong, completely healthy. But then I thought, let's see where this goes. And that's when I realized, I'm trans cancer. Why can't I have cancer? Because all the medical tests come back negative? Because all the doctors tell me no? Because the white man doesn't want me to have cancer? Some of my best friends have cancer. When I was a kid, I didn't draw myself with brown crayons, I drew myself with the cancer-colored markers. If you don't recognize my right to have cancer, maybe you're the ones who are sick. Such a weird place to take a joke. I'm giving commentary on the routines also. But here's the thing, like I think you've noticed the last couple of minutes, I've spoken about race. There's a reason behind it. I have a philosophy on race. And if you ask me, honestly, I feel like we should have gotten rid of racism by this point as a country. But not because we're so progressive as a nation, just because it's so expensive. It costs a lot of money to be a successful racist. Like that's how you know Jim Crow was a different time. Because people were willing to invest in the infrastructure of racism. You gotta buy double the water fountains? Really? You hate somebody that much, you gotta buy twice the water fountains? That's a weird thought to me. That's a very dumb thought to me. I hate black people so much, I'm gonna buy 20 water fountains. I made a water fountain money. That's a dumb, fundamental thought. That's a very stupid thought. And it didn't stop there, you know? It didn't stop with just water fountains. It was also bathrooms, you know? Black men's bathroom, white men's bathroom, black women's bathroom, white women's bathroom. You're gonna buy 4 bathrooms a floor, even in a room this size, all because you can't tolerate black farts? Who cares? Who cares about anything that much? Even neighborhoods, you know, like a person of color moved into a white neighborhood. People moved out. You know how expensive a move is? You gotta buy boxes, you gotta buy tape, you gotta buy pizza and beer for all your friends that helped. You gotta buy a whole new house, there's a lot of shit that goes into this. All because some black dude named Walter's mowing his lawn 3 doors down? Like, I can't imagine the motivation behind that. But you know what? It was a different time. Things were cheaper back then. If you're racist today, I applaud you. Because you got racism money, you made it. Like, how much do you think it costs to just not see minorities anymore? Like a ballpark figure. Like, not even just people of color. Like, you don't even see people in wheelchairs. Like, you have that much money. Like, it's just straight, able-bodied white Christians as far as the eye can see. I feel like it's got to cost $1 billion. Which is why I don't even hate Donald Trump anymore. I don't hate Donald Trump anymore. Because he paid the price of admission to be racist. He earned that right. I feel like Oprah paid that price too, but she still got mirrors in her house. She can't avoid every minority. And like, here's the thing, like living in Chicago, I've lived here much of my life, and about every few weeks, I hear somebody say, Chicago is the most segregated city in the nation. They say that all the time. Chicago's the most segregated city in the nation. I hear that. And the thing is, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that for a few different reasons. First reason, anytime I hear somebody say that, they're usually from Iowa. I don't feel like they have like perspective on racial dynamics. Number two reason I don't believe in that is who wants to live around white people? Who's begging for that joy? Like, in all of human history, it's almost impossible to come up with a series of words that's never been spoken out loud. But I guarantee you, the next 3 sentences are gonna be just that. Honey, we gotta move to this white neighborhood, soak up all this culture, it's amazing. Have you heard this white music? It's so rhythmic and filled with great beats, I can't get enough. Have you tried this white food? It's so delectable, I feel like I'm eating on Narnia. You just witnessed history just now. Like, it takes oppression to have a really great idea. And if you don't believe me, for thousands of years, white people owned pigs, and not one of them made rib tips. That takes struggle, that takes pain, thank you very much.